lesson, we're going to be changing fractions to decimals and to percents. So there's different rules that we must remember. The first one, when you're going from a decimal to a percent, you will be moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. When you're changing a percent to a decimal, we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. And last but not least, the fractions must always be in simplest form. So you would not want to leave 50 over 100. You would want to write it as just 1/2. So in my chart, you will see there are different parts missing. So we'll be going in different orders. So for the first one, we have 17 hundredths. That is our decimal. Well, the rule number 1 says when you're going from a decimal to a percent, we're moving over 2 decimal places. So that is actually 17%. And notice I said, as I'm reading that properly, it's 17 hundredths. And I know 17 is a prime number, so that actually is my fraction in simplest terms. Let's look at the next one. We have 31 hundredths. Well, that fraction is in simplest terms also, because there's not a factor that they share. But now let's write it as a decimal. We know that I said 31 hundredths, so we're going to have 2 decimal places. And you would write it as 0.31, and it says 31 hundredths. Now, the rule says when we change a decimal to a percent, we are going to move the decimal point over 2 places to the right, and that answer is 31%. Starting with 3%, the second rule says when you go from a percent to a decimal, you're going to move this decimal point over 2 places to the left. Well, here I have 1, and this would be my second one, so I'm going to have to place a 0 there, right there. So my decimal is going to be 3 hundredths. And again, now I'm going to write this as a fraction. Well, you heard me say when I'm reading it, it's 3 hundredths. And that actually is in simplest terms also, so we don't have to worry about that. I have the fraction 1/4. To change to a decimal, I know I need to have a 10, 100, 1,000. So I do know that if I multiply the denominator by 25, I will get 100. And you know, whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So 1/4 is the same as 25 hundredths. Now that my denominator has 100, it's really easy to write it as a decimal. I said 25 hundredths. Well, here's my 0 for my placeholder. I don't have any whole numbers, and it is 25. So 25 hundredths. And now, changing the decimal to a percent, we're going to move 2 places to the right. So 25 hundredths is the same as 25%. Let's look at this next one. We can start and change it to a percent first. So I know, just like what we did up above, I have to move 2 places to my right, and that is going to just be 12%. But now I'm going to write 12 hundredths as a fraction. And you heard me say 12 hundredths. Well, they're both even. I know I could divide by 2, but you know, there is actually a bigger factor they have in common. You can divide both of these by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3, and 100 divided by 4 is equal to 25. So this actually is my fraction that I would write because it is in simplest terms. And the last problem we have here, we have 47%. Notice we're going from percent to decimal, so we're going to move 2 places to the right. So that is 47 hundredths. And now when I have 47 hundredths, I know that I can write 47 over 100. And here I will tell you 47 is a prime number, so we know that this is in simplest terms. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.